Our fact finder team has been investigating the local heroin epidemic all week long. At least 7 people have died from possible drug overdoses in St. Joseph County in just the past 2 weeks. Now, it's a record the coroner says must be stopped. Prosecutor says he's committed to holding people accountable. WSBT-22 Suzanne Spencer found that more people are dying from drug overdoses than car accidents in St. Joseph County.
That's why Prosecutor Ken Cotter says we need a multi-jurisdictional drug unit. Right now, there's nothing like it in our area. They're the stories that aren't often told, buried in the books of the St. Joseph County Coroner's Office.
He made the wrong choice, and he did something that jeopardized everything.
Cocaine, heroin, killed a 30-year-old South Bend man nearly 2.5 years ago. His girlfriend, who didn't want to reveal her identity, but says every day that passes reminds her of his decision.
He was blue and laying on the floor and not breathing, and I called the ambulance, 911, and my son and I tried to revive him, but there was no hope.
No hope and no consequences for the person who gave him those drugs.
They have no idea what they've done, and I feel they need to live with that.
It's a problem. To me, the only way you're really going to get heroin off the streets is to turn around and start going after the people that are selling this drug, the dealers, the killers.
Prosecutor Ken Cotter, who took office in January, says he's committed to going after those killers.
There's more than a need. There's a requirement.
And the numbers show it. In St. Joseph County, 32 people died from drug overdoses in 2012. 39 in 2013, 43 in 2014, and 40 through September of this year.
We've made a choice in the past that we weren't going to investigate those as much as I think we can. And that's what this unit will be able to do.
Cotter says his drug unit will have a commander, assistant commander, and officers from South Bend, Mishawaka, and St. Joseph County, like Metro Homicide and Special Victims Unit. The focus, drug overdose deaths, the distribution of drugs in the community, but also to prosecute dealers. Right now, each police department has independent drug units, and the coroner says it's not enough.
I've had a law enforcement agency in another county tell me that the word is in this county, if you want drugs, if you want heroin, go to St. Joe County. It's easy to get. And that's a problem.
Now, make no mistake, people took those drugs on their own. They made those choices to take those drugs. But if the supply isn't there to be able to have those kind of drugs, then maybe we're going to have fewer drug overdose deaths.
Of those overdose deaths, 5 people were 21 and under, but the highest percentage was those 22 to 40 at 19 deaths. 12 people died between 41 and 57 years old, 4 people over the age of 58, that average profile being a 32-year-old male. You may remember Granger brothers Jack and Nick Savage died from drug overdoses after a party in June. Cotter charged Kyle Trieber with 4 felonies for dealing and possession of a narcotic, and Lauren Schwindeman with a misdemeanor, furnishing alcohol to a minor. But the prosecutor's office says it hasn't eliminated the possibility that somebody else gave the Savage brothers the drugs that killed them, and Cotter hasn't charged anyone in their deaths. In fact, the prosecutor says he has not filed any charges so far this year directly related to a person's drug overdose death.
They are killing people, and I don't think they realize it.
As for the family and friends overdoses leave behind,
And they're not being held accountable for the things they're doing.
the hope is to have that accountability and some sense of closure. Part of the prosecutor's goal here, if he can't file charges in someone's death, he intends to go after those dealing the lethal drugs in our community. Several other counties around us have undercover drug units, but prosecutors from Stark, Elkhart, and Marshall County all told me how difficult it is to charge someone in a drug overdose death. That's because of the participation component. Not only did someone give them that drug, but they took it. Prosecutor Cotter just received $65,000 in next year's budget for the commander position that has not yet been named. In the studio, Suzanne Spencer, WSBT 22 News.